Are you prepared? A few years ago, I was in a building fire when I lived in Washington, D.C. I lived on the 7th floor, and what had happened is on the 6th floor, an electrical fire broke out. And I remember it happening very quickly. Suddenly, my heart began to pound. I could hear the fire engines roaring up the street. I knew something was wrong. Smoke began to enter my apartment unit. I didn't really know what to do. I wish I would have known about this product, the SkySaver. Check it out at skysaver.com, your personal life-saving rappelling device. In that situation, in the event of a building fire like I was in, or an act of terrorism, or any other emergency, all I would have had to do at that given point in time is click, hook, and exit, and rappel my way to the ground to safety. Holds up to 300 pounds, rappels up to 260 feet, tested to the highest quality standards. That's a SkySaver at skysaver.com. Check it out today, your personal life-saving backpack. Click the link below right now. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. It is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2015, as we approach September 11th. In fact, maybe that's the reason the President of the United States, Barack Obama, is in Alaska, probably hanging out with Sarah Palin, about to go down into their bunker before war ensues. The inevitability of war as China engages in one of its largest military parades ever, commemorating its alleged victory over Japan during World War II, even though that's debatable. And the mainstream media here in the West, in the United States, says it's all propaganda coming out of China. They'll say things like the Chinese financial system is heavily manipulated to keep the Shanghai Composite above 3,000, how they keep funneling all this money into the system to prop up a phony market. But the mainstream media will never say the same thing about the United States, how it's just as manipulated here in the U.S., courtesy of propaganda bullshit machines like CNN and Fox News, or how Wall Street is manipulated here in the United States, or our political system is manipulated here. You know, the phony two-party paradigm, which really is just one singular party of total control and power, you know, that makes up this control grid, that makes up the regime that is the United States of America today. You know, people wonder why people like me come on camera every day and basically push the envelope of free speech. It's because it's hanging by a frigging thread. So Obama also, I believe, shot a reality TV show in Alaska. It's amazing that the Alaskan people would have open arms with this guy. I mean, aren't they conservative? Aren't they pro-gun and Second Amendment? I mean, why would they want the president in their hometown? Well, the president is prophesying doom and gloom, the end of the world, backed by science. You know, science tells him things. He's now a scientist, even though he studied political science. He's not a scientist or an expert on climate change. Has this big push right now. Again, he's prophesying doom and gloom, fires and wind and floods and all these things to push his agenda that these carbon emissions, you know, due to coal companies and stuff that he's been, you know, actively pushing against recently, even though his butt buddies, people like George Soros, have been buying the companies on the cheap. I mentioned this in a couple of videos ago, BTU, Peabody Energy. George Soros bought it like 99 cents. It's now trading at like $2.30 or $2.50 a share. It's been a clear double, a clear winner. All this heavy manipulation by the U.S. government and Wall Street. So Obama's over there, you know, he's in Alaska on some kind of tour, some kind of multi-million-dollar vacation while he still negotiates with Iran, and China ramps up and prepares for war along with Russia. You know, you notice how the news cycle of the mainstream media, it's very up and down. It's very hyperbolic, and then it'll hit a trough, and then hyperbolic, and then it'll hit a trough. It'll be like Trayvon Martin, and then nothing, and then Freddie Gray, and then nothing, and then Ferguson riots, and then nothing, and then, you know, a Texas sheriff is shot, and then nothing. You know, they don't give you too long, but we're definitely at that trough now. You know, usually I have a pretty good idea what's coming next. You know, I can see it based on the bullshit propaganda machine that makes up the mainstream media. I'm always one step ahead of them, as many of you are. But the only real thing I see next, the only thing that's really clear at this given point in time, this snapshot that makes up the trough, is that war is fast approaching. War drums are fast approaching. Now, we're also approaching September 11th. Remember when Hillary Clinton told us that the Benghazi terror attack that happened on the anniversary of September 11th had nothing to do with terrorism or September 11th, even though that turned out to be a total lie. And still, as they're releasing all these classified emails that she burned, and I'm sure we've only got like 0.1% of the actual classified content moving in and out of her personal email servers that she destroyed, which again is a criminal act and then should put her and pound her in the ass prison along with her husband, who lied on the stand not too long ago and perjured himself in front of the American public. Again, an illegal act that would send your ass to prison, but not these people. Remember when she told us it had something to do with like a YouTube video or something, the innocence of Muslims, even though that was total and utter bullshit? It was a lie. So again, we approach war, the war drums, to war. Russia and China engaging in war games recently. All of this revolving around global economics, this paradigm that makes up the New World Order today, this power structure that makes up the mainstream media, not just in China, or the financial markets, not just in China, or the political system, not just in China, but also relates here in the United States of America. Again, we're no different. We're just as heavily manipulated, propagandized. It's just as much of a joke as it is in China. Again, it's why few people like me and good people like you are pushing the envelope on free speech on a daily basis, because it's literally hanging by a friggin' thread. Also, news that came out a couple of days ago, Wayne Dyer died. I liked a lot of his concepts, the things that he talked about, and I kind of overlooked it a little bit. This happened again a couple days ago. I think he was like 75. There's things I don't like about him. He was a huge Obama supporter, friends with Oprah Winfrey, another person that I hate. But a lot of the things he talked about I thought were really cool, very interesting. He talked a lot about the Tao, how we're born into this world from nothingness, naked, and then we become part of this world and we become attached to things. We value who we are based on our ego. So much is guided by our own ego, what people think of us, how society values us, the things that we own, even though they really own us, according to the work of Buddha. And then we leave naked into nothingness. We come into the world from nothingness naked as a baby. We become part of this world. We become attached to things that mean nothing in the grand scheme, and then leave naked and into nothingness based on his talks, whether or not you believe there's an afterlife or not, or it's just a black hole and it's nothingness. And I always thought his concepts were really cool because there was a lot of truth to it. Again, how we put so much attachment to the things that we own that really own us, or how society views us, or how our people view us, or the career that we have, or the job that we have, or how much money we have in our pockets somehow values who we are. When again, we came from God. We came from, whether you believe that or not, or nothingness. We came naked into the world with nothing. We had nothing. We were, as the reality TV shows we see on TV, naked and afraid. And we leave naked and afraid. And I just found it, very interesting. I find it interesting how things repeat themselves, how history repeats itself, how war is repeating itself now, how the economic landscape is repeating itself right now. Again, the only thing clear at this given point, this snapshot in history, is that war is on the horizon. China, Russia, engaging in some of the largest, greatest war games we have ever seen in recent history. The United States crumbling economically, losing our status as world reserve currency, as John Kerry, Secretary of State, just mentioned to us a couple videos ago. Remember that used to be crackpot conspiracy theory? Well, now it's just reality. Obama, who's basically on the way out of his two-term, political destruction of the United States of America, where he basically just pissed on and torched the U.S. Constitution. Now the advent of more political upheaval through Donald Trump, the anti-establishment movement, the anti-politician, anti-political movement, and, the 2016 election as we approach. All these things I think can be positives. I think that we can change things. I think people like Donald Trump could potentially be good for the country. This anti-political correctness is good. But what we really need isn't this engagement of a two-party broken system, which really is just one party, this power system, this control system, this grid. What we need is real change. The lie Obama sold us. We need real reform. We need activism. I think we've already had the intellectual revolution to a certain extent. I think consciousness and awareness has been raised. A lot of this through modern technology. We've lived through it, you and I, over the past few years as a part of this technological revolution, the new industrial revolution, this information age, this information war. But in addition to that, we also need some kind of physical revolution. And where is this going to come from? As the Western media always talks about how China's very afraid of a revolution, they're jailing people that supposedly sold the market short, which shouldn't be illegal activity, or journalists that are breaking stories. We have the same control systems and the same control grid and the same power structure and the same illusion here in the United States of America. Most Americans are ignorant of it. And if they're not ignorant of it, if they see the illusion, a lot of them don't care. It's amazing to me how complacent the U.S. actually is, how complacent Americans actually are. And I think that is soon to abruptly change, especially as we approach war. I want to hear from you. What do you think's coming next? What do you see in this snapshot in time, this trough that makes up the bullshit mainstream media, hyperbolic, emotional roller coaster, and actual real tangible events in the name of these war games, in the name of the establishment of a new world reserve currency and the yuan, with Russia and China working together, this alleged deal, which just really shows you that the United States has no negotiating power or room left, negotiating with Iran, one of our great enemies that still calls us the great Satan. What do you see? What do you think's coming to the United States? How does this information revolution, this heightening of our awareness and consciousness translate into a physical revolution in real life? Where are we headed? I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.